week's video on handsome women got a lot of viewers requesting a follow-up gendered beauty look at pretty boys. Caitlin Noel1 commented, "I love, all caps, pretty boys since hyper-masculine guys turn me off and I find them a bit fake and obnoxious." Channy said, "Pretty boys are the best kind of boys. Yeah." Emoticon. Ryan Jen said, "Yes, please do a video on pretty boys. I'm curious where they fall as it seems like an insult, yet I know lots of women who like them, self included." Bing. Finally, Max Beyer says, "I want to be a pretty boy." If we look at the etymology of pretty as it applies to men, it starts off as a compliment in the same way that handsome did for women. In the 15th century, one meaning of pretty was manly or gallant, which means that perhaps knights were our original pretty boys. Speaking of pretty boys, that specific phrase in English traces back to 1885. And again, it was a compliment, meaning a worthy or clever fellow. But these days, as Stuff Mom Never Told You commenter Ryan Jen and others pointed out, pretty boy is considered more insult than praise. Case in point, is pretty boy an insult?
Yeah.
Take for instance perhaps the most famous pretty boy in US history. Gangster slash bank robber slash murderer slash all around scalawag, Pretty Boy Floyd, who reportedly hated his public nickname so much he refused to answer to it and instead tried to get everybody to call him Chalk, short for chocolate, and guess what? That did not work. Frustratingly, I could find no studies or research examining the gendered uses and interpretations of pretty, so dear viewers, it will be up to you and me to unpack why being called a pretty boy is more of a slight than a delight. To me, the negative connotation is pretty obvious. No pun intended. In today's verbal landscape, to call a guy pretty is to suggest that his face structure is maybe more feminized with a softer jawline, bigger eyes, lips, etc. and or he is too concerned with his appearance because, of course, masculine gender norms don't have time for primping or augmenting their appearance because they're too busy being manly men. The fact that we hitch pretty onto boy further takes them down a peg because it inherently suggests that it's immature. They aren't men, they're boys. I do think that for some people, pretty boy is being reappropriated in non-binary language to describe androgynous and genderqueer identities, which is pretty cool. Now I need to know what you think. Is pretty boy an insult or a compliment? And do you think that its meaning is evolving? Let me know all your pretty thoughts in the comments below.